Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us here today. And we're here at the CIO Summit Live Roundtable, titled From Backend to Breakthroughs. Now, I know what everyone's thinking. When you think backend to breakthroughs, it sounds like a bad IT project, right? But today we're flipping that script. We're here to talk about the real breakthroughs that these esteemed panelists have for us today, how we turn messy backends, stubborn systems, and how we've changed the mindset of everyone who works around us. So my name's Docrat. I'm the head of IT for Chemist Warehouse. We're the largest pharmacy group in Australia, and today, like any good pharmacist, my job is to make whatever you walked in today, we're here to solve that problem. So let's get straight into it. Let's start with Siddharth first. Siddharth, a quick one. From your perspective, what's the biggest technology win that your organization has had in the last 12 months?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And as the speakers ahead of me told, I think these are really exciting times for all of us. I think we should all pat ourselves in the back that we're responsible for this transformation. It's really exciting. In my case, I'm the Chief Digital Officer of Flormar, which is an international cosmetics company. Our job is to elevate women's mood. We do products that makes people feel good about themselves. I tell my mom, I could sell tires, I could sell computers, but I'm lucky. I was in fashion and I was in beauty. So it's a good business to be in. In our line of work, actually, in the last 1 year, we always talk about we want to be more of a data-driven company. It's a big word, but our end goal is to reach the decisions are made by the data, not by us. We have an executive committee, we have board, we have people, but the data needs to give the answers. One of the biggest projects we actually accomplished in the last 1 year was an IBP project with SAP. With IBP, our goal was to do a no human touch process where we actually make sure that our supply chain cycles were actually managed in a much better state. We actually produce all our products in factories in Turkey, and we send it over 70 countries. And we have over 100,000 touch points. So if you think about it, the level of consistency and the level of perfection needed is beyond. You cannot do this with people. You cannot do this with people not sleeping and doing the work, making sure that every country, every touch point gets the right amount of supply. So IBP project was one of the best decisions we made. It wasn't the easiest, it wasn't bed of roses, but I can say accomplishing a project which got actually credit by SAP as well, at Flormar was one of the biggest accomplishments. I do think that companies like us will probably invest more in actually making it better, taking it to the next level, but currently I think the biggest accomplishment was making supply more of a no human touch process from what it was.
No, that's excellent. And well done, sir. I think a round of applause for Siddharth, right?
Thank you.
Because that's an impressive achievement. And I think now let's talk about retail, right? So retail, as we all know, runs on systems. Bappaditya, from your perspective, what's one system or platform on the tech stack that you manage that you really couldn't live without, and why?
So I would say being in Brands for Less, if you see, we get deals and offers from around the globe across various different suppliers from the brand principals. And given that these are bulk purchases and deals that we get, we really have to turn around in less than 24 hours, otherwise we lose the deal to another retailer, right? So the technology that helps us in terms of validating the offers, generating a counter offer, understanding what products are there, going into and scraping the brand sites to figure out these products, their attributes, what's their recommended retail price, and generating a counter offer and sharing back with the supplier within a span of 24 hours. An offer sheet typically comes with around 10,000 items, right? So buyers from across the departments, they struggle with Excel sheets. So we are actually, building something like an offer management tool with built-in intelligence, which can actually go and find out more information about those products and automatically generate a counter offer, which can then be shared directly with the supplier and with an SLA of less than 24 hours. So that's something that we can't live without, because if we lose an offer, we lose business, right? And our entire profitability, entire existence is on turning around those offers in that timeline.
No, that's excellent. Thank you so much. And keep getting those offers for all of us. We love them. Dareen, you work at Shalhoub, Faces, e-commerce. We all know with e-commerce, no one makes money. Cost optimization is the biggest challenge that you guys have. So from your perspective, how do you balance that innovation with the budget constraints that you have in any e-com business?
That's a very good question. I think part philosophy, part business, right? So the idea is, like, how do you look at your full business processes and make sure that none of your departments are building a rocket while the others are just starting a fire. So making sure the tech systems grow at the same time. And our approach is also quite simple. The ROAS has to come very fast, as the previous speaker mentioned. So we try to, let's say, unlock each step of revenue one step at a time, while having the balance across business processes, but at the same time thinking, like, what's going to make us future-proof? What's the thing that's going to make or break the business in the next 2 or 3 years? And making sure that slowly we're building towards that, and we have the roadmap in the back end, while our teams are working very, very fast to build the right features and adopt the technologies that unlock the revenue within the 12-month period.
No, that's excellent. And if I could ask the same question to Debdatta as well. Could you... I don't know where everyone is sitting. There you are. Could you answer the same question for us? How do you balance tech innovation and cost optimization in the same breath?
Yeah, I'll just quote the very cliche word that technology has entered boardroom. That's been very common saying. And but the thing is, technology you can adopt, but technology has to be aligned to your business goals. That is very, very important. And I was listening to a very insightful speech from Mr. Rajesh before the CIO Summit started. That point of time, he mentioned very rightly that which is going to add value to your business process, bring efficiency, because any IT system or technology doesn't print currency notes. So the revenue or the ROI all is based on how much process efficiency you are bringing into the process, and then how you are adding value to your business, to your end customer, to your consumer. That is what is very important. So technology has to be carefully selected because there are a lot of choices. In today's AI era, everybody is offering some or the other solution, but which is apt for your business, that you have to select.
I think that's a great answer. So let's dive into that a little bit more. Let's talk about real-world examples. And if I could ask Mohammed Nahu, let's talk about a real-world example then around that technology initiative that really drove either revenue growth, ROI, or operational efficiency and agility.
Okay. First, I'll talk about a little bit of history, basically. As Union Corp, in 2014, they launched a simple Tamai's loyalty program, which was basically earn and burn model, which everybody, all the retailers were across were doing. But over the period of time, it is significantly, like everybody know that if you wanted to grow, if you want to have a deep customer relationships, and also want to differentiate others in this competitive market, we just not take loyalty as just as a program. Basically, it should be a complete digital ecosystem. With that in mind, we already have an e-commerce app also around that. It was a single app. So in the last week of April, we launched our new advanced digital loyalty platform. Now I'm changing from program to platform. Basically, that's it for us. Basically, we wanted it basically to use it by engaging the customers, retaining them, and respond to market shifts with speed and precision. Now, after 2 weeks of the launch, in between, like in the meantime, we also developed our enterprise intelligence agents, which was basically visual, we call it as Hawkeye and Edge. Okay. Now, let me tell you, basically, what is the facts and figures, what we got after, incorporating the e-commerce along with the platform, loyalty platform. In the first 2 weeks, we noticed that the customer engagement, app engagement grew by around 17% compared to the previous period. At the same time, we saw that average time which was the customer spending was almost like 20% more. Like now this was, a bit of thing because e-commerce team did not want to have they want to have their separate app. They did not want to come with the loyalty. So somehow the management said, no, we need to go with one. And that made, I will tell you about the incremental values and all these things also. Then we have a gamification platform also, which this platform has games, awards, offers, rewards, challenges, continuities, which actually around 40% of the people, like we saw that they were actually enjoying the games, and around 8 to 9% were basically our unique customers. Now, all this engagement matrix, how it basically, turn into revenue or sales. This is all in the first 2 weeks of it. We found that the incremental sales grew significantly for the loyalty-driven transactions. And also our e-commerce, which took off by 20%, who were hesitant to come on board with the loyalty app, e-commerce itself. And on a day-to-day sales also, on an average, we saw the growth of around 5%. Now, as I mentioned that we have this 2 tools with the enterprise level. These 2 tools help them, first of all, first tool was basically to analyze the performance of the sales and across all the categories and all these things. But the second tool gave the marketing team in real time, they could adjust any offers and all these things and see that what is making the profit. Now, just to finally say what all this meant to Union Corp. Like previously, we were considering loyalty as just as a program, a digital point system. But then now it has become for us basically a revenue channel, retaining and engaging the customers through gamifications. And finally, it has given a strategic lever to basically grow in this ever-changing competitive retail environment.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I think Union Co-op, with the amount of stores you have and the volume that you're driving, 5, 10, 20% makes a massive difference on the bottom line, I'm sure. Can I actually ask the same question to Ahmed as well? Ahmed, from your perspective, again, a similar question. You're the founder of Rabbit. What technology helps drive growth for yourselves?
So, hopefully this works. Yeah, perfect. So I think we're the complete opposite of most people on the panel because we started as a tech company and we're now been transitioning more and more towards being a retail company. At Rabbit, we promise customer a very simple promise, which is whatever you order, whether it's groceries, fashion, cosmetics, or more, we deliver it in under 20 minutes, which means that every single part of our journey is measured in seconds. So we started from a technology platform where every single product we have is tracked through a live inventory system. I know exactly how many pieces of every item I have in every location, whether it's in Egypt or in Saudi. I understand exactly every second wasted along the process, whether it's human-made or robot-made. We have a lot of automations as well in what we're working on. But for me, the one thing I'm super excited about, we've been working on now, and I love that it's in sync with the theme of the event. We're just 4 years old, and now we're still going through our first reboot, where we're moving a lot towards AI. It's the amount of excitement that we have around the technology and how the technology is changing not only how we think, but it's making a 1x employee a 10x employee, and a 10x employee a 100x employee. Every single part of our process, from our technology to our code. I haven't written code in 18 years now, and I've been churning 3,000 lines of code every day. It's insane the amount of productivity we're getting, how marketing is changing, how our demand planning and demand forecasting is changing. To be honest, it's a super exciting time to be alive. It's insane.
No, that's amazing. From a customer perspective, I love it that you deliver in 20 minutes. From a tech perspective,
we were the luckiest first, but now everybody's doing it. So we inspired some. That I'll be happy to do.
Well, from a tech perspective, I hate you because you're setting the standard that we all have to follow, unfortunately. Moving forward, Rajesh, thank you for the panel earlier today. And talking off the bat of what Ahmed said around AI, let's talk AI. And let's talk about how AI, especially Landmark Group, how does it add now real value to the organization? And is it still at that point where it's more hype than help, or is it now mature enough to really drive change?
Yeah. So I think the way one can look at is front of the enterprise, middle of the enterprise, and back of the enterprise. And in the front, it's, I mean, our entire content creation and all is very heavily impacted positively, and the speed and costs and all. So I think it is adding real value. We're seeing quite a lot of, complete transformation of our entire studios and all. I must say it is not easy because there is a lot of challenges and the choices of the tools, technologies, a lot of experimentation going on. In the middle of the enterprise, I just talked about, as one example, there are many happening across the company on the entire stack of generation of, kind of reports, dashboards. It's just phenomenal what is happening in terms of the ability to play with your data. And at the back of the enterprise, what I talked, which I'm directly driving a lot of, is the whole, in the processing of transactions. And I think to give a real example is the whole document understanding is just so magical when you see, because the agent now, right, the AI agent can understand the context of a document, which was never there before. So all OCR, all that was junk, never worked, right? It was really hopeless. And now we can really make that happen. So whether it is contracts, it's leases, it's invoices, it's SOPs. And we ran a hackathon with my own team of 250 people and into small teams to create an AI agent, and it is magical when you do it yourself. So I've done it myself, and it's just magical. And so now any problem, we first think of it as, can AI do it?
That's amazing, and I love the hackathon idea. I'm definitely stealing that. Rushikesh, from your perspective, we all know technology. We all know we can build the best systems in the world, but they're really about the people who use them, right? What's the biggest challenge in managing that actual people problem around technology and transformation projects?
So we had a very interesting time in the last 18 months. We migrated our entire ERP and our legacy systems onto S/4HANA Cloud. I divided into 3 sections. Okay, the first thing is getting commitment from the people. It's not that they don't want to commit, but they have their regular jobs, their regular routine activities which they need to do. And to find out time and commit to a project like this is something which is really requires a lot of effort in terms of getting everybody on board. Secondly is, again, when any transformation of technology happens, okay, the learning curve has to be adopted. Unlearning the existing things, getting out of your comfort zones is something which is vital. And that is where, the tech plays a huge amount of role where, how the shift happens is something where, you have to ensure that the transition is happening seamlessly. So that can drive from the super users or the core teams down to all the users. And the third aspect of any kind of rollouts is, of course, reskilling the people, ensuring that, you empower them with the right kind of information which is required, the right kind of training which is required. Otherwise, at the end of the day, when you have a project which is running, you will always have to figure out whether the data is incorrect or the system implementation is incorrect, or whether, the data entry by the users is incorrect. So these are the challenges which I see generally where, you have to manage all of these to have the right kind of implementation so that you don't fail in that.
No, thank you so much for that. And I think you hit the nail on the head, especially around the training and the feedback. I think that's the one thing we miss from everything. We hand people a user manual and expect them to go for it. But I think that is the biggest piece around it. Taking a change and talking slightly differently, Rahul, Schneider Electric, energy, you guys are at the forefront of sustainability and tech sustainability. How do you really intersect retail technology with sustainability today?
Let's talk about that. So intersecting that, right? When we talk about sustainability, maybe 5 years ago was a checkbox that companies were looking at, and things have really accelerated, and we heard earlier from Rajesh as well on what they are doing. I want to take a minute on this, on the sustainability topic. Everybody knows the importance of it, but the acceleration is coming from 3 main points. One, a lot of commitments taken by the governments. We see in UAE the commitment to be net zero by 2050. Second, the consumers. The consumers are really checking on the brands they use on what are their sustainable goals and how their companies. We see this in the hotel sector very strongly. You know, you can go on booking.com and really filter by green hotels. And data shows customers are willing to pay a premium for this. But most importantly, you know, when we talk to companies, everybody comes back to, hey, we're running a company. I love to see that the CSO is the CFO, which means, hey, okay, we love to drive sustainable goals and actions. But what's the impact to my bottom line? And what we're seeing in the last years with technology, the payback has really come down. Technology has become, I would say, more cost effective. We have more data points we can manage. We are getting close to the 1 year, but we are more in the 18 to 24 months on the payback cycle. So we're really getting there. And what we're seeing, especially in the retail stores, is how we can drive data-related actions on the energy side. What we've seen in the UAE is with companies like Carrefour, where we manage over 200 of their sites, is about 10 to 15% energy reduction, but also better asset management, where we reduce the downtimes of equipments by 30%. So ultimately, sustainability is helping to drive a better planet, but a better cost reduction for the company. And at the end, we sometimes forget that in the retail, it's also bringing more a better customer experience and brand loyalty.
No, perfect. Thank you so much. If I can quickly go back to Rajesh as well, because Landmark Group, and you're the CFO, and the bottom line means everything to you guys. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more around sustainability?
Yeah, absolutely. See, sustainability being such a new topic, and I already talked about the lack of awareness and people not knowing, you know, what to do. I think we feel that the world of the way new tech is coming and what AI, it's hugely enabling our teams to understand from materials to processing to logistics to the end customer journey. So I think it's just phenomenal that at the right time we've got the ability to, you know, it's almost like, you know, I say when Galileo invented the telescope, right? That's when the world started to understand the whole universe, right? Or when the microscope was invented. Only after that we went into the cellular biology and the whole understanding. I think computers have done that, but I think AI is really now the new kind of telescope and microscope that allows you to go into your own data or the data around the world, and that is going to help with a better understanding of your impact and to transform yourself. So it's almost integrated.
No, perfect. Thank you so much. Going back to technology, Doreen, you talked earlier about, you know, building tech for the future and putting in those techs. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Let's talk about the, you know, what technologies are you guys looking to put in that's going to really reshape the way you do business in the online world in the next 2 to 3 years?
So there's a lot of fundamental things that we're working on, like improving our OMS, improving our ERP, and other things. But the two core areas that we're focusing on from the customer side is how to make everything seamless, but also how can we read the customer data better. So on that end, there's a lot of initiatives on cross-system integration and hygiene that needs to be done. I think everybody knows the pain of that. But also the most exciting things are around AI customer-facing projects and really giving our customers the ability to access limitless data and obviously personalization of customer journeys.
And just talking about personalization, how do you think now personalization is going to change the way customers interact with sites?
So it's about like how to unlock the technology that will really personalize things. We've all played with these tools in the past and felt like, oh, but it's still someone in the back end driving those journeys. So we're trying to learn from those tools that we had to really build things that if you're a male, you enter the site and it gives you a totally different catalog, or it understands where you're at and starts adapting the journey to you. If you've looked at something in the past, it automatically guides you back to that and drives you to the purchasing decision. But even more than that, it all has to link back to the CRM journeys, the follow-up journeys that that we have with you and the journeys that you will have with our BAs in the stores. They have to know you. And for this, there's a lot of infrastructural projects that we have to build.
No, cool. Thanks for that. Siddharth, can I ask you the same question as well, please? From what are you looking at?
Pleasantly surprised I'm following faces because we're on the same field. We sell color. I mean, you do sell color, actually. Hyper-personalization is a must, and you cannot do this based on old technology. You need to rely on what customer wants. And it's so weird, like, when you look at the consistency and the frequency of how often customers buy, what colors or what products they buy, you would be mesmerized what you would assume clashes with what's happening. So you need to really rely on customers' journey, and to be able to do that, you need to rely on Gen AI. It's like making a cake. I was going to answer the question with a different answer. We actually put Gen AI and hyper-personalization, and we try to come up with something. One for the end user, which is our end customer. We need to make sure that we're in the right place at the right time with the right offering. To be able to do that, we are working very closely with the startup ecosystem. I think we need to highlight it as well. I think it's our responsibility as seasoned IT people here, resources, that to support the younger ones. There are people, there are kids, there are younger people who were born into iPad generation. They were born with an iPad. They really understand what hyper-personalization means. As Flormar, for some time, we have been actually investing in onboarding, startup ecosystem. We pick little companies that cannot find the right partner to get on board or get that credit, so we actually take them on board. We have a couple of companies we really work with to help us make our journey more smooth and more actually efficient for us and for the end customer. The same thing applies for our stores. Sometimes giving the right offer to the end customer is okay, but if you're not giving the same tools to your beauty advisor, your sales staff, it doesn't make sense. You have to give the same level of intelligence with the same level of dynamic data to your stores so they can give a meaning on what they're selling and they can actually make the right suggestion at the right time. So again, all these trendy words, but like you have to invest, and I think you have to invest with the same consistency, with the little support from the little guys startup ecosystem, which I personally support in the long run.
No, thanks for that. And I think that's the thing we miss. We always look at the online piece. It's easy to do online. We forget those physical retail stores. Rushikesh, if I can ask you next. On this panel, we've got tech leads, we've got CSOs, we've got founders, we've got finance. In any project, in any transformation or any system you're implementing, how do you bring everyone together? How do we balance the needs of IT, operations, finance, and the front of house on the ground guys?
Difficult question. No, on a serious note, picking up from the human side, which we spoke about, you may have a steering committee where you have the boards and everyone who are there, but it's very important to have an inclusive approach, empower the people. So what we did was, we created micro project managers from different functions, so be it supply chain, be it finance, and they were onboarded and they were given their processes to own. Once they own their processes, okay, tech was relieved in terms of delivering the tech part of it. To understand from the business perspective, from the business side of it, they were the ones who were leading it from the forefront. And then it then really amalgamated very well in terms of delivering something which was really meaningful and really fruitful. Along with that, of course, it effectively helps in empowering these guys so that it percolates down, they give training to their users and they take accountability of those areas. So it then helps in a very smooth transition of any kind of tech implementation.
No, perfect. Thank you so much for that. And Mohammed, if I can go to you quickly, you got Union Co-op, I don't know, has how many stores? 50, 60, 70 stores. I can never remember how many you guys have. But the data you're getting from these systems is insane, and the new loyalty system you talked about. But how are you using that data to empower, the store level or the frontline decision making, not just at a top line strategy level?
Okay, first of all, it's not 50, 70, it's 28.
28, sorry.
With the recent launch of Nadashiba branch. Okay, see, normally we have to believe that the people who are close to the customers our frontline staff, they basically shouldn't just follow all the orders from the head office or headquarters. Basically, they should be in a position to take some decisions better in real time, which is because they are the one who knows the day-to-day operation on a very, very detailed ground level. Now, quite some time before, and something like there was a ordering system which was totally manual. Even though we have dashboards, reports, and all these things, they would get the reports like what's a slow moving, what's a fast moving, like what's trending. Okay, they should not be there. What is the stock position? Still, then they would be they would put people, okay, go check the shelves and see what is there, what's there, to re-verify, correct, and all these things. And of course, a little bit, even though the people were not relying so much on the system, they want to re-verify. So over a period of time, basically, we launched an ordering platform across all stores, which basically all retailers are there, what elements are going to be there, taken into it. And so along with that, we built we put an AI-based predicting model. Now, basically, what happened on the ground, and basically it has brought a total operational efficiency, is they get a portal. Basically, the branch manager, he will have just a portal in front of in the morning. He will just see like which suppliers are supposed to deliver today, and what are the quantities which has been recommended by the system, and maybe a manual verification if it's okay, and maybe he want to add something based on the threshold. He will add, and just once he approves, immediately the order is the system is created in our backend, and the order is floated to the suppliers directly. Now, what has happened? All the frontline staff, basically, who are doing all these things, which is manual and all these things, now the use of data and use of the platform, use of the tool, it made them independent and do other things like increase the customer experience and all these things. It's not only on this ordering part, even the receiving part, the receiving section, basically they were, previously it was all ad hoc. Now they know that who's coming, what time they're coming, what is the allotment to be given, and what is to be received. So operational efficiency, grew too much by bringing, the data on the ground level.
No, cool. Thank you so much for that. And Rahul, if I can ask you the same question, I mean, from a slightly different perspective, but how are you guys using the data that you're getting?
Thanks for the question, Adam. You were mentioning about dashboards, and we all love dashboards until they become a wallpaper in the boardroom, right? So, what we believe is, how do we use data that rolls up to the boardroom, to the management from a strategy standpoint, but can be rolled down very concretely at the store level to drive actions. Mr. Noor shared a lot of the actions they're taking, for where we come in is more on the energy and operations side. And to give you a very concrete, a simple example, majority of the stores, the retail stores we go visit for audit or survey, the lighting, the temperature is all manually still controlled. It's set in the morning, maybe turned off at night. And here we are where we've using the term AI, maybe already 50 times today, and these simple operations are still manual, touch-based. And this is where, we want to come in with the digitization layer. And we're actually, happy to share with Brands for Less, Mr. Banerjee, if I'm allowed to share that today. So, they've taken the route of, how do we go with a smart facility platform, zero touch on the ground, it's centrally managed. And now, when you go this at store-wide level, from an enterprise, you can monitor each and every branch on how they're performing in terms of energy usage, in terms of maintenance of the sites. And that takes you, every action taken at store level results in an enterprise level savings and driving the goals. So taking the strategy from boardroom to actions at the store.
No, perfect. I think that's a great way of just moving that one saving across the chain and rolling it all up to a larger saving overall. So thank you for that. If I can now switch, Bappaditya, everyone's talking frictionless checkouts, great experiences, real-time inventory, having all of this at your fingertips. And it's great to talk about it, a lot more difficult to implement it. So what are the challenges of actually implementing these things in a real-world environment?
Yeah, so when we talk about like real-time inventory or seamless checkouts, So what are the different use cases we are talking? So we are talking about, replenishment, which is like real-time or near real-time with the data. We are talking about availability of the inventory, which can be shared and exposed to the customers, right? Available to promise for your online customers. So with these kind of use cases that we are talking about, it's very important to understand that it's not just the availability of the inventory and the visibility of that. It's an entire ecosystem of technologies that you need to have to make that use case work and get the ROI. So say, for example, if we want availability of inventory and make it available for the online customers, you need to have complete traceability and ability to track a product. So you need to have an end-to-end ecosystem of RFID, right? So right from your tagging at the source to your warehouse and replenishing to the stores, and having that perpetual stock count to be done almost like on a real-time basis. So then only you would be able to use that for showing it to your customers and making it available, because your depth is not that much in your stores. So making the store inventory for online customers. So you need to invest in that technology. You need to invest in infrastructure. You need to invest in RFID tunnels. You need to build the processes around it. And also, like customers ordering, in which you want to pick, pack, and ship from the stores, you need to have the right processes, right? You need to have people going in and picking in the products with your staff. They're packaging it, and they're sending it through the last mile system. So it's an entire ecosystem which is where I see the real cruxes, which basically delivers the real use case. And when we talk about, say, seamless checkout, frictionless checkouts, again, this is the process comes in, right? You can have customers coming in and doing self-checkouts, right? But being in fashion retailing, so I can say that, how do you manage your detagging of your hard tags? How do you control that shrink? So with every self-checkout stations, you need to invest in a cashier or a couple of cashiers to keep helping customers until and unless, they completely understand how to operate that entire checkout, right? So we have like MishiPay as one of the, sponsors of today's event. So that's something that really we are exploring, where customers can seamlessly come and pick an item from the store, and they can scan and they can check out. But on the way, how we can actually disable the tags, right? The RFID tags. If it's a soft tag, you can easily disable it. And still have the intelligence through your camera systems to identify that whether there is a real shrink or not, right? So in the constant pursuit of having frictionless, seamless checkouts and real-time inventory, which all looks very exciting and interesting, there is a whole load of other technology, platforms, systems, ecosystems, and processes which you need to put in place. Otherwise, that's just like, it just won't work. So that's been the challenge and ground.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's easy for the CEOs to say, just do it, until they realize the reality of it in the back end. Ahmed, you're running a startup. It's not easy. Cash flow is always a problem. I mean, you guys spend millions to get the businesses off the ground. But how do you ensure all those IT investments and all those tech investments that you do really get tied to business outcomes and ROI, as opposed to just being seen by everyone as this back-end infrastructure?
Again, very, very good question. We're fundamentally a tech company that does retail. So every single investment we do is designed to make sure that it returns value to the business. We do two very fundamental things at the core of Rabbit, which is one, we measure everything by second, and the second thing, every investment we do goes through a very rigorous process in terms of how fast we can turn this investment around. We're looking at return on investment in days and weeks and not even months. That's the first thing. We break things down into smaller chunks so we can deliver it faster to consumers and we can test it faster. And the second part is we go through a very important prioritization exercise just to make sure we have the cost-benefit analysis of every single piece of investment. So we build 100% of our technology. We rely a lot on the teams and the ideas.
So one of the things I want to touch base on is, for example, how many of you use a search when they do their online shopping? Can I see a show of hands? I love search as a customer. I hate search as a retailer because search is one of the nicest ways for customers to find products, and it's the best way for us to lose money because look at the panel here. We have tens of thousands of products on sale and customers can actually see them. But if you look at a very simple comparison to offline stores, it's impossible for you to find search. There is a very nicely curated book of how you have your store laid out. So the items are dispersed in a certain way. So it's impossible for you to find exactly what you need without going through different sorts of items. So we spent a lot of time, energy, and technology in trying to make sure that customer can use the search, but at the same time, we have enough friction in the experience. So you can not only see one product at a time. We obsess about every pixel in the customer experience. How can we find a better search enrichment so we can recommend the right thing? And at the same time, what are the best data enrichments we can do? And this is one of the things we're investing a lot in, is how can we enrich the data of existing products so we can find you better matchings and better personalization for the AI. And the fun thing I'm really excited to do is how can we move the checkout further away from you so it's not easy for the customer to check out to a point where they don't really get too frustrated. So how can we make it slightly harder for them to check out so they can see all of the hard work we've been building? And this is an area where we're investing a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money in getting that technology quite right, because if you push it too far, the customer will leave. And if you make it too easy for customers to check out, we lose a lot of money. So it's an ongoing struggle. And balancing this out is, back to your question, is how we make sure that we've managed to turn our first market profitable in under 4 years, and now excited to see how fast we can turn Saudi profitable, and hopefully soon the UAE.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then to finish it off, Debdatta, could I ask you the same question? I mean, how are you tying those tech investments into actual on-the-ground profits and ROI?
Yeah. See, technology budget is very important for any company. So that way, technology should be an enabler to the business, not put any dent on your bottom line. That is very true. So for giving an example, we can have several ways. One of the ways is to select an appropriate technology and maybe moving towards cloud, because cloud is an OPEX model rather than CAPEX model. So you can cut down your cost. Obviously, in cloud also there are concerns, like you should be analytical enough to understand what you are opting for is the optimum one and not something which you have opt for paying for but not using. To give an example, in retail sector, like for example, you can implement a learning management solution for your retail staff so that they have all the information about your product catalog and all ready on their hand, which they can use for cross-selling, upselling with the customer, close a deal very fast. So that can be a kind of solution. But at the same time, it is very important to do a pilot run before you go for a big bang approach, because you need to anticipate whether the cost versus benefit analysis is very, very important for any kind of tech solution and to keep it under the budget.
No, perfect. Thank you so much. So I think we've got about 6 minutes left or so in the session. So I really want to just go through the panelists. And I did prepare for this earlier in case we did have extra time. So I've got some rapid fire questions for everyone just to answer really quickly in 20 seconds. And we can take, I think it's a good opportunity for everyone to take some real snippets of information back. Rahul, let me start with you. One buzzword that you're really tired about hearing in tech?
Should I dare to say AI?
Thank you for that. But quickly, why AI?
No, we hear it everywhere, and when we go into implementation, there's no real strategy on how you want to use it. Like I really enjoyed listening to Rajesh earlier, where he staggered it out, right? What's at the base, middle, and up, and how do you go step by step? So very often we hear it all around, but with a lack of strategy behind, and we just think AI is going to solve everything. But if used in the right way.
If used correctly, exactly. Doreen, if you could give one piece of advice to yourself just starting out again, what would it be?
Don't overthink it and trust the process. It will get you there.
Thanks for that. Actually, Ahmed, the same question for you. What about a piece of advice that you could give to yourself if you had to restart everything from scratch?
I think technology is inevitable, so invest in technology more than you invest in anything else.
Great, thank you. Bappaditya, what's the last tech idea, which is not AI, which has made you say, that's genius, or like, that's amazing?
So it came with one of my visits to the store where one of the staff said, hey, can we capture customer feedback through their voice? And then we tampered with that idea, and then we figured out that, yeah, they can scan a QR code, get in a WhatsApp, and send us a voice message. And then we can actually, analyze that voice message, convert that speech to text, and do some, okay, now it goes into AI, so I'll stop here.
Thanks, Debdatta. Cloud, on-premise, hybrid, which one do you choose, and defend it quickly for me in like 10 seconds?
I'm all for cloud because of primary reason, reliability, availability, and disaster recovery is very easy. You can scale up, scale down based on your requirement. But at the same time, I think I take a cue from Rajesh. Earlier he mentioned, cloud, we have to select the solution very, very carefully, as I mentioned, because at the end of the day, you should not be overpaying. So it should be pay as you go. Slowly scale up, take the optimum size, and implement.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Rushikesh, can I ask you the same thing? Cloud on-prem or hybrid?
I would say cloud first. You should have a cloud first approach. As he mentioned that, it's important to analyze and assess whether you are actually utilizing the cloud to the fullest. Because, of course, with cloud, you get reliability, you get scalability, you get commitment. Sorry, not commitment, security.
No. Commitment, a lot of dollars.
Yes.
And then, Mohammed, from your side, in your perspective, give me one word which defines a successful tech leader today.
Only one word?
Only one word.
No, I will give you 5 words. Basically, it's a 5 C's. Communicate, coordinate, cooperate, collaborate, and co-create.
Thank you for that. Siddharth, can I ask you the same question? What, in a word or 2 or 5 or 17, what defines successful tech leadership today?
I think that being an ambassador of technology. I think we all have a job that we are the ambassadors, agent of change. And I know, like me, yourself, and everybody sitting here, when you go back to your company, people are looking at you like you are the only person that knows what's coming up. They have a fear of missing out in technology. So I think we all are ambassadors of technology, and we have a job to explain and inspire. So I think I can say that. That's definitely one of the aspects.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then just to finish us off, Rajesh, the man in retail, in sort of the largest retail group in the region, what's the one retail tech trend that you think is going to actually matter 5 years from now? That's not AI, again.
I think I'm going to go for assassination because there's so much talk of cloud. It's not sustainable. So somebody has to, as of now, we are getting assassinated by SaaS, but I think we need to find a way for assassinating SaaS. It's not going to work.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much. So once again, thank you so much to all the panelists here today. A round of applause for everyone here. Thank you all for paying attention, and have a great rest of the day ahead.